versus the Dallas Cowboys next on the Unbearable Sports Podcast.
Yeah, she's got some nice long
Welcome back to the Unbearable Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Brad Barron. Joining me, as always, on these preview shows is my partner in crime, Mr. Johnny PayPal. Mr. PayPal, how you doing, my man?
Doing pretty good, Brad. I don't know about you. We're probably feeling the same type of feeling right now. We're probably nice and stuffed, and our souls are full from our mom making us delicious food today.
This is true. This is true. She stopped over. So as everybody probably knows by now, I had a baby or my wife had a baby. And so she made one of the best dishes, breaded pork tenderloin, just so freaking good. Like we just growing up,
Wiener Schnitzel.
Yeah. Yep. She would just stack that stuff sky high, and we would just sit there just devouring it. Us and all of us just devouring it, eating as fast as we humanly can. And yeah, like I am stuffed. I am full. It's a good feeling. It's a very good feeling.
I could keep eating more. That's the bad part about it. It's like she still had leftover, and I was like, I just like looked over after I ate like a whole plate of it, and I'm like, I could eat that all right now again, even though I just ate 5 of those things.
Oh, completely. You're just stuffed to the gills. I get it. But it's an awesome week though. We got our Wiener Schnitzel. We got we got the Bears winning, and now they're going to try and upset another team with the Dallas Cowboys. So the Dallas Cowboys looking like one of the best teams in the NFC at 5-2, and Dak Prescott most likely will be in this game. So we want to make sure that we break this down. Now, before we break this down, make sure to like and subscribe if you are out there on YouTube. And also, you can download the podcast anywhere you get your podcasts. Just look for Unbearable Sports. Follow us on all social media platforms as well, just as a little reminder. But let's get into this, because there's some piece of news that we have not yet talked about. And that, my dear PayPal, is Robert Quinn getting traded. We talked about this. Yeah, we wanted this. We were excited about it. And I'm also extra pumped because people asked me about this. My newborn daughter, her name is Quinn. People are like, are you sad about it? I'm excited because I can get a discounted Robert Quinn jersey. So
that's perfect.
I'm perfectly happy with that because I can get that bad boy 50% off.
And the first Bears game that Quinn ever witnessed was that 33-14 win. So
she's good luck.
I don't know, kind of good luck charm. That was kind of maybe the day that Justin Fields became this, big Hall of Fame quarterback. This might be the, Packers lost too, which was like the best part again. They lost like terribly to the Washington football team. So it's just
completely
perfect weekend. You got a baby, and wow.
But yeah, so we traded a 4th round draft pick we got Robert Quinn for a 4th round draft pick. PayPal, we talked about this. How are you feeling about this? Do you think it was enough? Do you think it was what do you feel about it?
Yeah, I think it was enough. I think the one big question for me is, like, could we have gotten more in the beginning, like the beginning of the season when he was kind of the sack leader got this incredible season? And that kind of gets me sad. Like, we probably could have gotten a little bit more if we did trade him in the beginning of the season. But it sounds like, from what Ryan Poles says, they almost wanted him just to kind of get this team rolling. If we didn't have him, we wouldn't really have that veteran presence at the defensive line. They need to know what a pro looks like, or future Hall of Famer possibly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm happy getting a 4th round. I mean, takes all the cap away from us, or not all of it, but some of it. And yeah, I mean, work on the future of this team now.
Yeah, and I'm actually going to pull this up because I haven't been on social media for a while, which has been great. If anybody needs to relieve some stress, just destroy Twitter. Don't go on to Twitter. and you'll feel significantly happier. But let me just see. I pulled this up and I sent this to our little chat. So Robert Quinn, we are going to be paying. So what he accounts for on the cap is 9.3 million in 2022 or this year, then 8.4 next year, and then nothing in 2024. So honestly, it's not bad.
Yeah.
Especially you're saving some money, you're getting a draft pick. We talked about it. He wasn't playing well. He played well last game. So I'm totally fine with it. And yeah, you're not going to be getting the world for him, especially right now. So yeah, you could have
Mhm.
probably gotten something early. Like we said, he was Bitcoin. You could have gotten a lot for Bitcoin last year, 6 months ago. But right
But
now, you're not getting anything for him. You're getting what, $20,000,
yeah,
right?
and he wasn't really helping us right now. So like, I don't know. We're saving cap. We got a draft pick. I think
Exactly.
people seemed like when they wanted more, but yeah,
And
it's
more
fourth
important,
is fine.
and I think even more importantly, now you see Dominique Robinson more Travis Gibson. Now you know what you have with them, especially Travis Gibson. We need to see him. Like, is he going to be the starter? Is Dominique Robinson going to be the starter? That's going to be a big question. But we will be going through that as we break down this team. So we're going to be switching up the agenda a little bit for those that listen day in, day out. We're going to be going into some awesome depth. Still the same great content that you've known to love. But like we said, we went through the Robert Quinn news. Then we're going to do offense preview, defense preview. Then we'll break down who has the edge, go through some game predictions, some over and unders. And then last, my favorite part, our game simulation. That's honestly, PayPal, the game simulations have now taken the lead. The
Wow.
computers are beating us.
Jeez. What that's just telling us something,
Yeah.
robots are taking over slowly.
Yeah,
Slowly but
exactly.
surely.
So we'll see what they have to say about it, but let's get into this offensive the Bears offense versus this opposing defense. So this Bears offense, we saw some great new elements that the Bears were displaying on film, but this defense from the Dallas Cowboys is ferocious. On from the passing perspective, they allow the seventh least amount of passing yards. Our Chicago Bears are in fact six. They also blitz
Wow.
about 29.4% of the time, which is close to kind of that 10th number 10 or so. So not a lot, but still a decent chunk. But here's the big stat is they have the highest pressure percentage by a whole 5 percentage points. So that means a
Wow.
sack, a QB hit, a QB hurry at 32.3% of the time. They get in front of the quarterback's face. We're talking about a ferocious defense out here, obviously led by Micah Parsons, a young stud that's just been dominating, absolutely
Mhm.
dominating out there. But PayPal, when you think about this Cowboys defense, ranked 2 according to DVOA, Football Outsiders DVOA, number 1 against the pass, number 12 against the run. What's your first impression of this Dallas Cowboys defense that we're going to be playing?
We're a running team, right, Brad? But yeah, I think everyone kind of knows, yeah, Michael Parsons is an absolute beast, and that's like the number one guy we gotta look out for, and DeMarcus Lawrence. That's gonna be a tough matchup for our offensive line. And the blitzing, I think something that popped up to me right away is the blitzing. I'm not as worried about as I was in the past. We saw how we were able to kind of figure out if they were doing a coverage zero. I mean, Peyton Manning was going crazy about it last week on the
Yeah,
Manning cast
yeah, he
when
was.
he's like, that was his favorite audible, I'm pretty sure, was if he saw coverage zero, he'd audible to like a wide receiver screen or like kind
Yeah,
of a running back screen. Cause that's how you just make all those blitzers basically blitz for no reason. Like you're taking them out of the game because they're rushing the quarterback. You throw it out to the side. They're on the other side of the field and that guy's gone. That's why Khalil Herbert had one of the easiest touchdowns you'll ever see. So I I'm not too worried about this blitz, but still, yeah, this defensive pass rush I think is kind of the big storyline of this game.
Yeah, I agree. When you look at just the sack numbers, absolutely insane. Micah Parsons, 8 sacks. Dorrance Armstrong, the unsung hero out there, 5 total sacks. It's just absolutely going to be nuts. DeMarcus Lawrence, 3 sacks. Yeah, Dante Fowler, 3 sacks. Just absolutely crazy. It's going to be very, very difficult for the
Mhm.
Chicago Bears, and that's what I'm nervous about. But PayPal, we saw them run a lot with Justin Fields, right? We saw a little bit more design QB runs, very similar, very Baltimore Ravens-esque type of a system that we were running. Do you feel like we're going to be running that a little bit more this week, especially against supposedly the number one pass defense according to Football Outsiders?
Oh yeah, I definitely think so, and I like to think of it more as a Daniel Jones. I think of
Daniel
Daniel Jones.
Jones.
Yeah, I think he's got the speed of Daniel, like he's like got the speed, but he doesn't have that elusiveness like Lamar Jackson has.
Fair,
Um,
fair. But
but
that's still insulting.
hey, he's a fast guy. He clocked
Yeah.
in as like one of the fastest mile per hour ratings like last year on like next gen stats. But anyways, yeah, I definitely think that's something we go back to. I think it's still, Brad, we're both scared with the injury kind of part of it of like, okay, you're just running your quarterback and hopefully, gets down safely. But last week, he seemed like he wasn't getting really banged up when he was running. It was more still just in the pocket. That's when he
Yeah.
was getting hammered and kind of was scary with like the injury side of things. So I think it takes the offense just seems a lot more simple and like you're giving the defense a lot more looks. Like, oh my gosh, that one was like second down and long, and we like ran it for like 15 yards. It was like that was just a beautiful play call, and it just keeps the defense on their toes.
Yeah, and I feel too, the thing that gets me the most nervous about this is, oh, and there we go, Just Colored with the subscribe. And
Nice.
actually, he just sent a message out here. Did we just start over here on Twitch? So for those listening, yeah, we actually just started streaming over to Twitch not too long ago. So if you guys are Twitch fans as well, I know a lot of us are out on YouTube and also just listening to the podcast on their phones. But yeah, we started streaming out to Twitch, also on Facebook. We started doing that again too. So just so that we at least had that out there. So, but thank you. But yeah, Micah Parsons to me is going to be just crazy because he'll line up as a linebacker, he'll line up as a defensive edge player.
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy, right? And that's what I'm nervous about, especially we know Musty, right? Mustafa does not know where people are going to be at, and Parsons is going to be everywhere. But also, this Dallas team has the highest percentage of running stunts. So for those that don't know, it's when the D tackle or D end kind of runs around someone else. We saw
Oh
how
boy.
bad the
Oh
Bears are
boy.
at that. And that's where they're trying to manufacture a lot of those pressures. It's going to be a very interesting defense that they're going to be going against. And it's good.
Brad, that
That's my
scares
biggest
me.
fear, right? Yeah.
That's yeah. I when you said that, that's what scares me because I think of, we don't have Lucas Patrick anymore. And I think Must Mustafar, we like to call him. He just he doesn't seem like I don't know, he just doesn't seem like he understands them. Like we see him last week, we saw like I know, like I sent all like our brothers, like you included, like the video of Mustafa just like looking clueless. Like he was just running out to the side. Justin Fields was trying to make a play. He ran out of the pocket. And Mustafa, it looked like he was part of the other team. He was like facing towards Justin Fields.
I remember that.
Yeah. And you're just like, what is he doing? So yeah, that whole stunting thing, because that's not really, I mean, it's still a skill thing for offensive linemen, but you think of that more as like a mental kind of like a reading of the lineman and kind of communication on the line.
Yeah, and so we haven't even talked about that too, because we haven't broken down the injury report. What's nice is the Bears don't have a huge injury report, right? Now,
Mhm.
PayPal, you talked a little bit about Musty. Looks like Musty's going to be the starting center for a while, guys. Lucas Patrick, he's on IR. So, and they haven't signed JC Treader. They haven't signed this new center to kind of replace him. It's going to be Musty for the future and for at least 4 weeks, right?
4 weeks, yeah.
So, and then Larry Borum does not participate. Our starting right tackle, he has concussions. He had a concussion, has not participated for the past 2 practices. PayPal, are you nervous at all about this line, right?
Yeah, I mean, the line looked great when Lucas Patrick was in at center. I mean, that's what we wanted for so long, and then it looked good, And the whole Borum thing, I'm not too disappointed about. Like, he didn't look the best last week. Again, that's against Matthew Judon, who just we talked about it. He's such a strong physical player. Like, he loves to bull rush players. And Borum just looked very weak against him. So and we do have a backup. Like you were talking before. I mean, we have Riley Reef. So I don't know how you feel about Riley Reef, Brad. Like, he seemed okay, but like obviously there's a reason why he's a backup over these guys.
Yeah, I agree. Like, if this is where it's nice to have Riley Reef, right? Riley Reef is a backup. And now, since Borum might not be out there, it looks like he's probably not, right? We know everything that's been going on with concussions thanks to Tua. So chances are, I don't expect Borum will be playing, but I don't fear it. Borum had his worst game last week. Doesn't mean he's absolute trash now, but I kind of like having a more seasoned vet. Like we were saying, a lot of those stunts. The only thing that gets me a little bit of fear with that as well is with Tevin Jenkins, it's good to know who's going to be right next to you on these stunts, because then you know where your brothers in arms are going to be, right? Yep. And that's going to be a big matchup to look out for because of this new person coming in. But I don't hate it, right? I think that it should be a good matchup overall, though, because I like Reef, right? I felt the same way about Schofield. Schofield comes in. Schofield played very well. And I think Schofield probably regresses a little bit this week. But honestly, this line is not terrible with the run, but it's with Schofield, with Musty, I think it should be a little bit better.
Yeah, I've been fine with this whole offensive line, and we've been able to prove that even if we throw in a new guy at a new position, they still can kind of handle it and still play together. I think they must practice all together, and they're very well prepared last week. So I completely think they'll be prepared for this week. But we'll see. We'll see what that game plan is against Parsons or Lawrence. I mean, I think you got to double team Parsons, but I also think like sometimes you don't even have to block them. Like you can have like a read option where Parsons is going to be that outside guy, and if you do an option, you basically take him out of the game by doing that. So kind of look out for some plays like that where instead of blocking Parsons, they kind of take him out of the game with like a read option or RPO, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And the thing that gets me nervous about Lawrence too is Lawrence has also lined up on the inside as well, right? And we saw what Matthew Judon, someone very flexible, can do. So I get a little bit nervous about that. But do we have breaking news right now? Reload said we just signed a tackle.
I know, that's what I'm looking at.
Yeah, can you let me know in the chat like who this tackle is? I'm really nervous. We might have some breaking news.
The first thing is Elijah Wilkerson is the first thing that pops up, but
Wilkinson. Oh boy, is he back?
He might be back.
So maybe they really don't like
oh no, that was in March. Oops.
Like Riley Reef. Yeah, check Twitter. But also just going out to Just Killer, as Bears fans, how much belief do you have in Fields to be a top quality quarterback? Now, I think this also kind of plays PayPal into the overall idea of the Chicago Bears, right? With Fields. Fields has all those top tier pieces. And I think that's what we're going to be seeing in this game is hopefully Fields, we can try and have him run a lot more. We can try to have him get those big plays. But still, it's the matter of can he run a simple offense, right? He can run the offense when he's running the football. And the more that I think about it, the more that I enjoy that, because think about Lamar Jackson, right? Lamar
Yeah.
Jackson was not the most accurate quarterback, was not the best passer, but got better and better and better. And so because of that, then you ran heavy with him in his early portions, and then he could understand the passing aspect, especially in this game, right? And we'll talk a little bit about matchups. And I might be spoiling my matchup that I like, but one matchup that I like is this slot corner, Bland. The the Dallas Cowboys lost their starting slot corner. I think that we can attack this slot position, especially since Mooney can be that slot player, right? You could put your best
Yeah.
player in the slot, but the only fear is that can he be a top level quarterback? Not this year, but I think he can, because I think this is a good spot where you say, we have an advantage. We can do this, but I just don't think he'll be able to kind of take advantage unless it's with his feet like he did last week.
Yeah, I definitely think he's going to be a top quality quarterback. I mean, just how he played last week, it shows. And one thing I like too is he's self aware of what he's not good at. Like we saw in his last press conference, he said outright, like he just has to work on passing it quicker. Like he's like, one of my weaknesses is not throwing checkdowns. Um, so like I like seeing that he's aware of his weaknesses and he talks to the media that he knows, you know. I feel like in past it's like with Mitch Trubisky, it was like, what is his problems? Like we couldn't figure it out. And it seemed like he didn't really know either. And with like Justin Fields, he knows what he can figure out and what to do. And this whole team has been improving week in and week out. So I'm optimistic about Justin Fields just getting better every week.
Yeah. So let me see. So right now in the chat too, we have a little bit update. So yeah, Jerry Green, or Gary Green, not sure exactly how to pronounce that, but he was signed to the practice squad because he's more of a defensive edge type of a player. He was in Indianapolis in 2019, has no regular season snaps. So definitely seems more like I can't see him replacing or getting snaps similar to like or even like being on the active roster. I think they like
Yeah.
Kingsley Jonathan a little bit, but also looks
Mhm.
like Darius Fountain. Let me see if I can pull anything up there. Former wide receiver, because also the Bears got rid of Reggie Roberson, someone who was a very big playmaker out there, right? Uh, Playmaker for Louisiana Tech. Obviously, he did not impress anybody, hence the reason why he's gone. But Fountain, I've seen him before,
Yeah,
but I'm just
I've seen
trying
that
to.
name too,
I
yeah.
feel like everybody has seen every Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver at one point, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
just because it's them. I'm looking at his
What
grades.
was
Yeah,
the one I'm thinking of?
in Indianapolis in 2020 and 2018. Currently with PFF grades at about like 60. So very, very mediocre. Seems like he was just kind of playing special teams. Preseason grades though, more in the 70s. So is that a good thought? But also he
Yeah,
had in preseason week 1 in 2020 or 2022 a 85 grade run blocking. So let's go run block.
hey, yeah.
Right? We got to get those up.
I do remember him, and, he was kind of a preseason star, like, he was one of those he's a big receiver, obviously, yeah, 6'2", big run blocker,
206.
yeah. So, yeah, he seemed like I remember watching him, and, yeah, I'm like, "This is the guy." I was like, "This guy's actually pretty good. We'll see if he actually makes their team," but, obviously, they're more of, like, speed players, and he's more of a jump ball type of guy, so also, yeah, from Indianapolis, so probably has that connection as well.
Yeah, just killer. We just got Bears just signed Darius Fountain. Uh
Yeah,
so
what do
to
you
the
think about
practice
him?
squad. From Madison, yeah, from Madison, Wisconsin, too. So
Oh,
we got the
wow.
Wisconsin boy. So
Ah,
let's
nice.
go. I don't think he went to school there, but but yeah, so PayPal. I think that that's kind of good from the offensive perspective, but let's get into our new segment about this offense. We still don't know what exactly it's going to be called, but it's going to be right now. I'm just going to call it our fierce matchups, right? The biggest matchup that you have for this Bears offense versus this opposing defense. What is your matchup? And if you have to think about it, I'll give you mine.
Yeah, you can. I want to see yours because I kind of have like two right now. I'm kind of thinking of.
Now, I already kind of blew it up, right? I already said what I thought. my game-breaking matchup is us going against Bland. Whoever's in that slot taking advantage of this. This is his first normal game, right? His first regular season game. We need to attack him in that slot corner position. What would I do if I'm the Chicago Bears? I'm putting Darnell Mooney out there, right? Match him with your best wide receiver and try and take advantage of him. Because, listen, Diggs is going to get his. Diggs likes to play the deep ball. That's what gets me nervous, right? I wouldn't go against Diggs. I like this slot matchup and more of those quicker throws. Don't let Diggs get the interceptions. Hold on to the ball, because if we're bombing it deep, that's where I start to get nervous. And especially with this pass rush, that's why my key matchup to look out for is right in the slot, Darnell Mooney versus Bland. But PayPal,
I like it.
buy you some time. What is your key matchup this week?
Man, Brad, there's a lot to like. There's a lot of kind of matchups and everything, but I think I got to go with kind of my obvious one is like Riley Reef and Micah Parsons. If
Okay.
he's lining up
Yeah.
against him, I imagine he is going to be lining against him because why wouldn't you go for the backup tackle instead of going towards Braxton Jones, who's been looking incredible? So yeah, Riley Reef has to have a game. He has to hopefully get some help from Tevin Jenkins, which is kind of sad because then Mustapher won't get his help that he deeply needs whenever he's blocking someone in the interior. So Riley Reef, hopefully he can he won't need too much help and too many double teams with Micah Parsons, because man, even the best of the best have not been having a good time blocking Micah Parsons.
And speaking of blocking, though, like maybe we should have our own segment, the claps of the week, right? Let's give some claps to Tevin Jenkins, the
Yes.
9th best guard according to PFF stats.
Wow.
He has a 77 grade, which still like isn't great, but it's the 9th best at the guard position. So here's the guy that we didn't even want to start. By we, I mean the Bears coaching staff didn't want to start, but every fan in Chicago wanted Tevin Jenkins to start, and he is, and he's the 9th ranked guard. Let's go. He's looking good, and Mustapher ranked 14th best center. And I could tell you this much, right? I looked at the stats. It's not because of his passing grade. His passing grade's like 20 something. It's terrible. It's all about who he is in the run blocking. So
Interesting.
So that's what I think is going to be very interesting to see. But also, yet again, I want to just call this out from the line that Alex Leatherwood still practicing. No rumors about is he going to be brought up. Just kind of further validates what we talked about, PayPal. He's going to be a backup, right? And maybe he gets activated now that now that we no longer have Lucas Patrick on the active roster, right? So. And then Reload said also we brought someone from practice squad.
Yeah, Dieter Iceland, right?
Oh, we called him up? I didn't see that.
Yep. We brought him up. So
well,
yeah, I liked him. I liked him in the preseason, and like I was not surprised when we kept him on the practice squad because he's like a very versatile, smart guy. So yeah.
Where's the Dieter hive? I remember like that was going crazy in preseason. People being like, Dieter needs to start at center. Yeah, there's a Dieter hive out there. I want to know if there's any Dieter hives out there. But let's go, PayPal. Next segment, the X Factor. Who's your X Factor on this Bears offense?
I think, man, I'm kind of in between two, and I think I'll take mine. I feel like you might have a certain one, but I'm going to do Amon St. Brown. It's a shock.
You mean Equidemius? I wish we had Amon Ra.
Oh, no, Amon. No, I wish we had Equidemius because he's going to help us with our run game. I don't think Amon Ra is as good of a blocker. He's not as big. He's not as physical as his brother. Equidemius. I wish I had an easier name to say. EQ. But he was the honorary captain. He was promoted. He was nominated the honorary captain for this week. So I think he's going to be kind of the X factor. He's going to be the person that we're going to rely on to block and be in the passing game. But I think mostly block and kind of get those big runs from him. Cause I mean, that's why we've had gains instead of 3 yards, it's turned into 10 just because how well our wide receivers have been blocking. And he's gotten so much praise from the coaches of how well he's just been doing that. And I mean, his passing game, we see it sometimes, like it's nothing flashy, but he puts in work. He could be in the slot, we'll see. But yeah, I got St. Brown as my X factor, which I don't know if that's surprising or not, but I think
It
with
is.
honorary captain, that kind of shows what our coaches are thinking and kind of maybe use him a little bit more this week.
So for mine, I'm going between two different people. And also for those watching live, let us know in the chat, who is your X factor? Meaning, who do you think is key to the Bears' success? Mine is Justin Fields, right? Like, who do you think can pop off or is going to pop off? Who needs to pop off? I'm going between two people, either Khalil Herbert or N'Keal Harry. So I'm going to go with Khalil Herbert. We haven't talked about the running. We really haven't talked about the running game. Khalil Herbert, we are riding with the hot hand, right? We're riding with the hot hand, and we're getting some Monties out here. We're getting old line. Like, to me, I think Khalil Herbert, because what he can do, like when I was watching the Manning cast back over, and he's like, geez, Khalil he just smacks people, right? He just fights.
Yep.
And it's a different type of fight than Montgomery, right? Montgomery, he does still run hard, but Khalil is just tough, man. He's just a tough runner. I like Khalil Herbert. He's going to be my X factor because if he can get going and get those wheels turning, whew, let's go, right?
Yeah.
Like let's keep feeding them, right?
Yeah, we look at that. Yeah, we look at how good their passing attack or their passing defense is and their pass rush, like their corners and their their defensive linemen. So I think, yeah, I agree, Brad. Like rushing is the key to this game, which is awesome because we're the number one team in rushing yards, and then we're like last in passing yards. So
Yeah.
right up our alley. Like we kind of match up well against them.
And Renewable has a good point out here with Komet being an outlet, right? That was another one of my potential. That's a big reason why I was thinking about N'Keal, right? N'Keal caught a quick slant, big body. He can do that stuff, right? And Komet, where has he been? Right? The coaching staff has praised Cole Komet and said that he looks great and he's fantastic, but he hasn't done much. But I will say a big part might be because he's usually blocking. You can use him as a blocker.
Great. He's been great running.
And yeah, he's been solid. And this is exactly the dilemma with Komet. And I hate using PFF grades completely, right? Like I don't like to base everything off of a PFF grade, but to Komet, it's kind of perfect. Like he's 33rd out of 72 tight ends. Like that's how Komet is, right? He's like an average, like good tight end that you would want on this team. He's a starter. He's not anything flashy. He's doing a decent job. And so hopefully we can keep this going. But PayPal, let's go over to this defense, right? This Bears defense looked really good last week, doing great things against the Patriots offense. This offense for the Dallas Cowboys coming in is pretty decent, right? We all know Dak Prescott, but Prescott hasn't played phenomenally, right? In 2 games played, a total of 341 passing yards. Cooper Rush averages 170 yards a game. Dak Prescott, 170.5 yards a game. And Cooper Rush, 5 touchdowns, 3 picks. Dak Prescott, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. These guys have not played too great. It doesn't look like the Dak of old from what I'm watching, but overall, 1,361 passing yards. And the running game, Ezekiel Elliott, who's been a little bit banged up. Hopefully he plays because we all know who the better running back is. Everybody knows except for Dallas. Tony Pollard, average 5.6 yards a carry. Ezekiel Elliott, 4.1 yards a carry. We know who the better running back is. It's not just the stats that are saying it. Tony Pollard is good. I think right there, I want to see Tony Pollard over Zeke. I mean, I want to see Zeke over
Yeah.
Tony Pollard.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we see it too. I mean, when we faced Aaron Jones in the Packers, the quicker running backs have been kind of our weakness. And then we look because who's the guy Thunder Thighs on their team? Oh, what's their backup? But still, like kind of more of those power runners, we were able to kind of seal up
Yeah.
and stop. But if they're quicker, and it kind of reminds me of us a little bit. It's like Montgomery and Khalil Herbert. Khalil Herbert, like he has more yards per carry, but still, I guess for our question is who's better, Montgomery or Herbert, which is just a never-ending debate, and we'll see if we ever find an end to that debate. But
Yeah, and exactly, we'll see. But you make a good point. We do worse against faster people. Ramondre Stevenson, big guy, but we do well, right? It's like
mm-hmm.
we're good at taking down the slow big guy, even though
Yep.
that they're fast. But yeah, it's like the slow big guy, and that's where like Reload's saying we need to work on tackling. And here's something that I want us to just praise this coaching staff, because we had the mini bye right last week. Now we have a short week. The thing that we know about this coaching staff from what we're seeing is they learn, right? They are learners.
Oh yeah.
Matt Nagy never changed anything, right? We
Mm-hmm.
always lost after a bye. We always lost when there was extra time because we never did anything. And with this coaching staff, we came out with a new scheme. We came out with new thoughts. And also you see them gradually get better. We talk about this. We are a second half team, especially for the defense. The defense dominates in the second half. It's absolutely awesome to see out there. So I think hopefully, and what I'm getting at with this is our run defense has been getting better and better and better. So hopefully,
Agreed.
part of me just wishes they would say that Zeke just isn't out there so they can game plan for Tony Pollard. And maybe that's
Mm-hmm.
why one running back does really well and the other running back doesn't. And now here comes the Patriots only running one guy and we lock him down. So
Yep.
I'm feeling a little bit more optimistic about our run defense, but I'm not saying we're good. We're ranked 24th overall according to Football Outsiders DVOA against
I mean,
the run.
we look pretty darn good against Ramondre Stevenson, which like fantasy owners were like, oh my god, we're gonna get like 30 points because Ramondre Stevenson was absolutely tearing up every other team he was going against. But yeah, I think if we're able to stop the run, that's going to be huge because yeah, we saw how good our secondary was looking out there, just creating turnovers, just locking everyone up. Um, and I agree with you, Brad. It's like the defensive line has been just kind of this main focal point of this defense now. It's like if they can play well, our whole defense is going to play well. I believe our defensive coordinator even said that in his interview today or yesterday, and I completely agree. I mean, they played well last game, and we got 3 turnovers because of it. That we had bad balls, we had pressure. We only had 1 sack, I believe, but still, like we were having that constant pressure. It felt like it felt like the quarterback was never just comfortably sitting in the pocket, which was just absolutely huge for the entire game. And not many breakout runs. Like we actually stopped them at the line. So, man, yeah. Shout out to the defensive line. Can they play again now without Robert Quinn?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see if Gibson, Muhammad, we'll see if one of those guys can kind of step up and fill that role because Robert Quinn did actually do pretty good last game. I mean, perfect timing. He didn't do very good any other game, so that
Yeah,
was
let's
great.
actually go through that though with Robert Quinn, right? Robert Quinn not out there. Now, Robert Quinn graded as the worst defensive edge, but except for last week, right? Last week played a lot better, like we've been saying, and he played just well enough for us to get a 4th round pick. So thank you, Robert.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, he gets claps, right? The second
Yeah,
awarded claps of
just
the
defensive
day.
claps.
Yeah, but who do you think starts opposite? Who do you think starts in the place of Robert Quinn? Because Gibson has typically lined up at that left edge. So for those that don't know, left end lines up over right tackle, left tackle, the right end lines up against left tackle. So who do you think is lining up against that left tackle. Do you think Gibson's playing over there? Do you think is Robinson getting thrown into the fire now? Who do you think?
Yeah, I think over that left tackle, I think we're gonna do Gibson. I mean, they even have it on Pro Football Focus. I mean, I think he's the person with more experience. That's the person we're just gonna kind of start out the game with. I don't know if that means he's gonna have more reps. I mean, we've been kind of prone to having kind of that hockey, like you've been saying, hockey kind of lineup of we
Yeah.
just kind of throw in guys, and it's very, there's a lot more variability with our defensive line, not just one guy's always out there. So I could see Gibson starting, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to get more reps than Robinson. Like he might get a couple more, not like a whole like 20 or 10 more reps. Like it's going to be split pretty evenly.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's going to be split up. Renewable also brings up a good person, Kingsley Jonathan. We saw Kingsley Jonathan out there week 2 and week 3, played pretty decent, had 2 overall run stops, and can play well, right? And this, I just want to say, this is one of the things that I know we're fans of potential PayPal. We talked about this all the time,
Oh
like growing
yeah.
up, playing 2K,
2K.
whatever it is. It's
Yep.
all about potential, right? Like you just get those guys, you play the young guys, and I think that's what's so exciting about this defense right now. You got Gibson, you got Robinson, Kingsley Jonathan, an undrafted rookie free agent out of Syracuse, 6'4, 260, big guy,
Ooh.
right? It's going to be nice to see these younger players that this team likes. Also, there's something to be said about Kingsley Jonathan when the Bears haven't signed anybody. Now, watch, they're going to sign someone tomorrow, and this is going to be a mute point. But because right now, you could sign Devon Kennard out of the Baltimore Ravens. Phenomenal edge. That by phenomenal, I mean phenomenal find that you can get at edge
Yeah.
is on the Baltimore Ravens practice squad, has played very well for them. You can easily pick him up, right? If you need a veteran presence, D Ford or no, Frank Clark, D Ford. I always get those two mixed up.
Yeah, D Ford.
Yep. So if D Ford's out there, you add him, right? You can bring him in, sign him, another veteran presence that gives you an instant upgrade. But instead, it seems like they're going with the younger guys, right? Like the guy
Yeah.
that they just signed to the practice squad doesn't seem, it seems like Jerry Green that they signed is going to be on the practice squad. So Kingsley is going to get those snaps. So I think overall, I think you're going to get a better push. Yes, Robert Quinn's been great, but I think you're actually going to get a slightly better push because you're going to get people that want to show what they're capable of, right?
Mhm.
Like if you're in your current job and somebody who is a manager just left, you want to show that you are a manager, right? You want to show that you're worthy of that. I think Robinson and Gibson right now are salivating, going, I I love you, man. You're my brother, but I'm going to take this job, right? This is
Oh
my
yeah.
job for me to win, right? That's what I'm going to be doing. That's what I'm going to be going after. So I think I'm excited to see these edges. I don't expect all of a sudden we're going to get some sacks,
Yeah,
but
I
it'll
don't
be at
think
least
so
fun to
either.
watch.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, I think we've kind of always said it. It's like kind of these backups or kind of these younger guys like Robinson has always been better pass rushing than Quinn. And the only reason why Quinn was doing better last week was because he was against slow old man Trent Brown. So yeah, it's not like we really lost anything. So yeah, I'm pretty confident basically everything else on this defense, Brad, besides that defensive line. It's always that's the question mark. And we saw, yeah, if they play well, our whole defense is going to play well. So,
Yeah, and also want to just kind of bring this up because we know our defensive tackles are terrible. PayPal question out here from Don, from Donald. Would you trade for the Broncos Chubb or Deron Payne?
um, that would be a weird trade because I feel like first off, we're not really trying to get a Super Bowl right now. Like, obviously, I would love Chubb, but obviously, I think they're going to be looking for a young, talented player, or they're going to be looking for draft picks, and that's stuff we don't really want to give up right now.
True.
Um, so as much as I want Chubb, I don't think it really lines up with us. I don't think we'd be a good trading partner for them.
Yeah, I think it's very enticing. Exactly. I agree with Bears Bones here, where, yeah, maybe, yeah, no trading. You're not wanting to give away the draft picks. You want to probably take on some of these draft picks, like you're saying. And
I
then
like the question
hopefully,
though.
yeah, it's a great question. Like, because it is like if you add like a Deron Payne, right? And he should be available in free agency. So hopefully we can at least meet him out in free
Yeah.
agency. Hopefully it's not like the wide receiver market where then everybody trades for the wide receivers and we're like, well,
Yeah.
now I guess we could sign, I don't know. Like,
EQ,
you could
yeah.
sign Juju again. Like,
Yeah.
I guess. Like, great. But let's go through a couple other things. I want to ask about what worries you most about this offense? We talked about Tony Pollard a little bit. Is it Pollard? Is it the line? Is it Lamb? What scares you about this Dallas offense?
Yeah, I think definitely just that run. I don't think we've been prone to like give up these big games to wide receivers. I mean, we had that one game with Justin Jefferson where he was kind of cooking us in the first half. But yet again, that was when Gordon was kind of young and like he just looked absolutely just a deer in the headlights when he was playing. So I'm not too worried about kind of those receivers like their tight end Dalton Schultz. He hasn't looked the best this year. So I'm literally just looking out for, yeah, those running backs. I mean, Prescott still has something to prove. I don't know if he's really up to speed yet, being injured for so long. I mean, he went against the Detroit Lions, which has been the worst defense in the entire league by far. And he only got like 200 yards, not a big game. So got to go with these running backs, especially Pollard. We're prone to not being good against fast running backs. So that's hopefully our
Okay.
defensive line can do something against them.
And you bring up the game against Detroit, right? The thing that gets me nervous is according to PFF, they allowed 3 sacks, or Detroit allowed 3 sacks, and here's a great offensive line. That's something just I wanted
Yeah,
to bring up
true.
that I'm a little bit nervous about. But let's actually go to, sorry, it just reminded me of that. But yeah, the Dallas pass blocking I think is going to be difficult when you're looking at um this pass blocking. They've only allowed a total of 8 sacks, and they're all pretty good. You have Tyler Smith. It's not Teron Smith out there, right?
Mm.
As the left tackle. He's the rookie. Whoever is replacing, of course, right when Robert Quinn leaves, now they go against the easiest person out there in Tyler Smith. So hopefully we can have like maybe Dominique Robinson go off for 2 sacks. That's something that I'll be looking out for. But yeah, I'm nervous about, yeah, Tony Pollard. CD Lamb, I think, is good, but I trust this defense, right? I
Yeah.
trust our secondary. I like our secondary out there. I think that they should be pretty good. I feel good that we're not going to allow the big play. But I will say something about this during the matchups because I got a matchup. So PayPal, I'll start the matchups when we get into
All right.
that. But PayPal,
Perfect.
how would you exploit this offense? Is there anything specific you would do? I know we got some
Oh.
questions about would you blitz? What's your feeling on how you would attack this offense?
Yeah, I do think we have to blitz. I mean, we looked at our game last time and the pressure was kind of the big factor of that. And kind of just I think I don't know how we're exactly going to do it, Brett. I don't know what your thoughts. I don't know if there's a certain thing we saw last week that we did specifically to stop the run, but the key is just to stop the run. I mean, yeah, we have the confidence in stopping these wide receivers with our amazing secondary. We don't have a hole like we've, had in the past year and even, the first couple of weeks. We really don't have that one guy that they're just going to pick on in our secondary. So for me, it's just force the run. But yeah, how do we do that? I guess. I mean, I'm kind of stumped. I don't know if we did something last week with that.
Here's my feeling. If I were the Bears, I would double CD Lamb. Michael Gallup has not looked that great coming off of an
Mm.
injury, right? He still looks like he's hobbled by it, still wanting to come back. You mentioned Dalton Schultz. Dalton Schultz, he literally is hobbled. Like you watch him, he's
Oh,
like
really?
half
Yeah.
injured. He doesn't look great out there. Maybe a week of rest makes him feel better, right? I like the idea of doubling Lamb, putting somebody that's just spying on him that kind of can give some assistance, because I'll talk about this a little bit later. But I think that you try and double Lamb, you try and match that up. Like you said too, if you're just focused on the run, you're trying to match that, but look out for CD Lamb, because that's a guy that can that's a go-to, right? That's the guy that you can just
Mhm.
throw to no matter what. And I think if you double that and then you trust your other corners, I love that idea, right? I love the idea of saying, we're going to take out your best guy. Now you have to beat us, right? You have Jalen match him on the outside. They did that last week, something that they haven't done all season, but they did last week. I like that. But hey,
I like
pal,
it too.
let's get into our matchups, because I'm I'm itching at the bit. We got to talk about our key matchup for this defense. And I said I'm going to go first. So building right off of that, my key matchup is Kyler Gordon versus CeeDee Lamb, because Kyler Gordon is in the slot and CeeDee Lamb loves to play in the slot because he gets his clean release, because he's not on that outside, gets that clean release and can really use his athleticism, speed to beat the wide receiver. That's the key matchup for me,
I
because
like it.
that's going to be huge. We've seen people pick apart Kyler Gordon, but not for the past 2 weeks, right? This is a huge game for him. You're going against one of the best in the slot. Kyler Gordon, he's going to be tested. He's going to be tested this Sunday. So that's
Mhm.
that's my key matchup for this week.
Yeah, for me, Brad, I mean, that's a good one. I think I'm still focusing still on that run. So I think the person that's gonna step up, and he kind of has been for the past couple weeks, Roquan Smith. He just has to find those holes. He really has to get behind the backfield and try to tackle whoever's going to be back there, whether that's Pollard or Ezekiel Elliott. Um, yeah, just be aggressive. And I mean, he's been doing that. He's been finding those lanes. He's been kind of plugging those holes. So yeah, that's my guy.
Okay, and going on to the X Factors. So the X Factors, let me know in the comments as well for those watching live, and also if you're watching this later on. PayPal, who is your X Factor? Do you need to think about this? Because
Oh no,
I
I
need to
got
think
I got
about
I
this.
got one
You
I
got
got
it?
one written down. Yeah, I think
Okay.
well, I think I've been following the media too much. I mean, I freaking had a EQ as my offensive X factor, and then now I'm gonna have Travis Gibson as my
There you
X
go.
factor, as kind of the person to fill up Robert Quinn. Uh, I think this is kind of his time to really prove why he should have been starting this entire time. I mean, we thought he would start this year, but then Muhammad kind of took his spot, and Robert Quinn was on the other side. So let's see Travis Gibson. Let's see if he's been getting better. If he is the starter. He's got a lot of competition now with Robinson kind of stepping up. So we need you. Hopefully you can stop the run a lot better than Robert Quinn, because we sure as heck knew that he couldn't do that. So yeah, he'll be our X factor for this game.
Okay, and I'm glad that you had Gibson, because that's who I was nervous about. That was also one of my matchups that I was going to
And you love
kind of
Gibson.
call out.
You love
I love,
Gibson.
yeah, he's a big Marvel fan. How can't you love Travis, man?
Marvel's overrated.
Hey, get out of here.
Okay, I'm good.
Go watch Detective Pikachu.
Yeah.
But yeah, like my X factor on this defense, it's I want to say Gordon. I kind of want to double down on Kyler Gordon, because that is the X factor, right? Like
Yeah.
if Gordon can play well, I think that this defense, it's a different story. Like if he can lock down or play well, play just like, he doesn't have to lock him down. He just has to play halfway decent against CeeDee Lamb, and this game becomes easy, right? This is a different game if Kyler Gordon can play well. So I'm going to stick with Gordon, right? I
Mhm.
think that Gordon ultimately is going to be that guy. This offense does not turn the ball over, only 4 interceptions. They have one of the lowest turnover percentages. Um,
Yep.
and of course, I just exited out of my tab that had that. They were like 5th in it.
Yep.
So, yeah, Nano's got defensive factor saying Eddie Jackson pick 6. I love that. Love to see that out there. But yeah, Gordon to me is going to be the X factor for this defense. He's got to show up, got to play well, and I'm looking forward to it, right? And also, just want to give a shout out to Kendall Vildor. I think is a sneaky good player this week. Very good in the run coverage, very good in run defense. Can be somebody to help lock down those edges. But it will be interesting to see Robert Quinn, not known as a good run stuffer. Maybe are we singing a different tune, or is like, because you never know with some of those defensive players, right? So
he was just a speed guy, Brad. He was just a speed guy. So
yeah.
Now we kind of get a little more power from Travis Gibson. I'll see it. And Eddie Jackson and Brisker been playing phenomenal. Yeah.
Gosh.
I just have to say their names because
it feels good.
Yeah, we have to say their names. Love
Jaquan
those guys
Brisker.
so much. Yeah, Jaquan Brisker making us proud.
But PayPal.
Just soak it in. Just soak it in.
Just take it in, right? Like, seriously, we got great safeties. And actually, one thing, too, just because I thought of this. When we talk about this team as well, who else could be traded? I know that Jackson's been balling out, right? But I don't think Jackson gets traded because of his cap situation. The Bears would really have to eat negative cap in order to do it. So it's not smart for them to do that. They could and probably get the best return on their investment. But I think it just doesn't do them good if they end up trading him because you're, for one, eating a lot of salary cap space. 2, it seems like Brisker and him are a dynamic duo. You don't want to mess that up. Right? So that's kind of how I feel. The only other person that I think could potentially be traded is David Montgomery because Smith, they're going to franchise tag. They're not trading him. But David Montgomery, to me, is the only person that you should really watch out for as potentially being traded because Khalil Herbert's looked better. Khalil Herbert has produced better. So, but PayPal, we've gone through the offense and we have gone through the defense. So that leaves us with the last segment of the show, and that is the special teams review.
Bears bones. I mean, I think he knew it was coming up. He kind of read the future.
Yeah, exactly.
I think for me, that's the big story. The special teams, Brad, is how do we stop Turpin? Because he's been looking great. He's been looking kind of phenomenal. I don't know what the stats are on him, but I always see so many highlights just popping up of he had like 2 kick return touchdowns in the preseason, and he just looks so freaking fast. So I don't know exactly how we stop him, but our special teams has been pretty darn good of keeping everyone kind of in check and not getting these breakaway, 25 plus yards, 30-yard plus runs. So I'm worried about him, but not too just because he's talented. But our special teams has been playing well, like all the gunners and everything. Is it Blackson? No.
Blackwell, right?
Blackwell.
Yeah.
I mean, special team, we got him, so no need to worry.
But no, I agree. I agree with you. I think that this is going to be a very interesting special teams. And yeah, Pettis, punt returns, like it's going to be interesting. Like you talked about it. They have a very good returner in Turpin, but also on the flip side, and then we also have very good coverage. And then on the flip side, is Bayless going to be back out there? That's the question. I would put him back out there on punts.
Yeah.
I would say because to me, it's you gave him a slap on the wrist, right? You slapped him on the wrist. You said, all right, now you can put him back out there. But I think the biggest thing is we're not in the practice. We're not in the practices, right? We don't know if he's redeemed himself. We don't know if he looks better. So I think, to me, I want to see Bayless out there. And maybe this. How about this? Bayless is out there on kick returns. I think that's better because then you
Okay.
don't have Khalil Herbert out there. Yeah, put him on the kickoffs. That's my final answer. Kickoffs.
Okay. You know what? Okay, Brad. I just had this fun little thought.
Okay.
So, you know how I was talking how EQ, he was the kind of the honorary player of the week or the captain of the week.
Yeah.
Do you think that's going to play into special teams? Do you think EQ could be a kick returner or punt returner? Do you think
No.
because Dante Pettis he muffed a punt last week, he's
No.
sick of these drops and he's going to put EQ at punt returner?
I think old Cement Shoes Ebner is gonna be punt return before that. But
Okay.
it's interesting.
I was just thinking about because I mean he is a strong physical guy. I don't know how he's been running, that type of stuff.
We do
but
end arounds with them. So
yeah,
I mean,
it was a thought. It was a thought. So
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see if that comes out. If it does come out,
you're gonna be telling me I told you so.
I'll be a
as we
genius.
watch
Yeah.
games. Yeah.
Exactly.
Like
That's why I
what?
had to put it out. I had to put it out in the air.
Yeah, we're watching the game and you're gonna be insufferable.
Yeah.
Look at that! I told you.
We're down by 40. Yeah, but EQ's out there.
Because Pettis fumbles like twice
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
punt returns. And
Yeah.
see, but yeah, let's go into special teams. We'll see. It's going to be very interesting. But PayPal, let's wrap up what we just talked about with who has the edge, like we said inside of our previews. That's how we're going to kind of wrap some of the stuff before we get into some over-unders and game predictions. So PayPal, Cowboys run defense versus Bears running offense. Who has the edge?
I think our running offense. I mean, we're number one in the league for running. I mean, including Justin Fields and his running plays. I think we're kind of unstoppable. I don't want to say that too much, but we've been very good at running. There's a reason why we're number one. So I think it's easy.
Let's
We
go.
got the edge.
1-0 Bears. Then I have Bears passing offense versus Cowboys pass defense. No brainer. It is the Cowboys pass defense. The pass rush plus a turnover heavy secondary is not a good look for this Bears team. So PayPal, I go back to you. The Bears run defense versus the Cowboys run offense.
And I think this is kind of the big game breaker. I think still we can't have an edge over them. I mean, they've been running it really well. So I think they get the edge. They have two dynamic backs, and we just haven't proved ourselves yet. Just one game isn't enough to really prove that we can stop the run. So they get the edge.
Okay. And last to me, Cowboys passing offense versus Bears passing defense. I'm going to give it to the Bears. I think I'm very confident in this pass defense, very confident in our scheme. I think that every stat that doesn't point to the Bears as being a good pass defense, I don't really agree with because I think they're good. I think that they play well, very well disciplined, even though they had a hiccup last week. But this is a good pass defense, right? The only times that we've been beaten was when people only targeted Kyler Gordon. So, PayPal, it's dead even. But I think we will kind of go it down to the game predictions ultimately. But let's go through some over-unders, right? So for those betting fans out there, not saying you should take our advice for bets. We'll see how we end up doing. But
maybe in the future, yeah.
First over-under. And also for those listening and watching right now, feel free to play along too. So right now, the Bears over-under, the point spread is set at Chicago Bears +9. PayPal, are you taking that?
Wait, so repeat that. This +9 for
+9 right now.
Wow. I'm taking the under, Brad, for that one. I think, yeah.
You're going Cowboys -9?
Oh.
Are you going Cowboys -9 or Bears +9?
Oh gosh. Yeah, we'll go Bears +9.
Bears +9.
Yeah.
I'm booking it right now.
Yeah, it sounds good to me.
You better be right. But no, I would do the same thing. I think that it's a lot of points. So now let's go to the next one. This one is for me. Justin Fields. The over-under is set at 160.5 passing yards. What does everybody think about that? Because to me, it feels
Ooh.
low, but we watch this team, and this is a good defensive passing.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's the hardest part. I'm actually going to see if I can quickly pull up how many yards Fields has gotten in the past.
Because last week it seemed like he had that phenomenal game, but he still had under 200, I believe. Correct?
Yeah, he had 179, then 190, then 208, and then 174. So the only time that it looks like the only time that he hasn't hit that is the first 3 weeks. 121 against San Fran, 70 against Green Bay, 106 against Houston. I would stay away from this, but I'm going to go over, right? Like 160 is nothing.
Yeah.
And we went against a good pass defense last week, right? I think ultimately it's just Fields' passing yards. I don't know how much we are going to be running it, and this seems like an offense where we could just be simply running the football. But yeah, it's sad that this is tough, but I'm going to go over for that. But PayPal, I'm going to give you another passing one. Darnell Mooney, 42.5 receiving yards. You taking the over or you taking the under on Darnell Mooney, 42.5?
Man, that's really tempting. I mean, there's a reason why they kind of have these as betting odds, but I'm honestly gonna go over Brad. And I say it because Mooney has that kind of big play ability. I feel like he could get that in one catch, and maybe
True.
even just two catches. Like he's destined for those big plays. So I would take the over for that, Brad. I mean, that's kind of how that Cowboys defense is too. It's either they play very aggressive and, they'll be batting balls, but then sometimes they're playing so aggressive that they're going to let up a big play. So I think that can be in our favor.
And just like the other stuff, New England, he had 53 yards. Washington, 68. Minnesota,
Yeah.
52. Giants, 94. Coincidence? I think not, right? Like, you get
No.
him going. This is his boy. And yeah, but last one is David Montgomery, over under 46.5 rushing yards is the last one. This just seems way too low, right?
Yeah.
Like, to me, I'm hammering the over. Like, I feel for that. I think that the over is a little bit easier. I think the reason why it's kind of low is because of Khalil Herbert, right? Because Khalil Herbert, I'm reading this right now. Khalil Herbert leads the team in rushing yards right now with 464. Fun fact.
Oh, wow. That's a very
Montgomery only
fun fact.
missed 1 week, right?
Yeah, only 1 week, and yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And yeah,
He's good.
Basically, it's at this point, I don't think the time is, half and half, but it just seems like it just seems whenever Herbert is out there, you notice, it's like, oh wow, like that was a big run, and that's Herbert.
And
So
46.5 is really low. And I'm looking at this too. The only times that he didn't get that is Minnesota, Houston, and San Fran. So it is a 50-50.
but we're gonna be running down their throats, I think, for this game.
Yeah. We got Donald saying 86 for Monty is what he's feeling. Yeah, like we'll see. Yeah, I think overall, yeah, I'd go over with that. But just a fun fact about this. PayPal, do you know how many yards per carry David Montgomery has? Actually, let's start fun first. Khalil Herbert, what's his yards per carry?
Is it like 6?
6.2.
Yeah, okay. That's what I thought.
Right?
Wow.
6.2 yards a carry. So 75 carries, 464 rushing yards. 9th in the NFL. 9th. Our backup running back. 9th in the NFL. David Montgomery. Can you guess his average?
We'll go 4.
It's exactly 4.
Okay. Oh,
Exactly
Jeez.
4. So yeah, like
That's crazy.
exactly. So I think it'll be crazy. I just Khalil Herbert, man. Herbert is a beast. But PayPal, we got to wrap things up with the final. This is the actual final segment. I've been saying final segment a lot. I really got to watch what I say. This is the final segment of the show.
First 5 minutes into the show. This is the final segment.
This is the final
Well,
segment.
starting with the offense.
Yeah, and here's another one. The final segment are game predictions. PayPal, ladies and gents, you are 3-4 in your game predictions.
Wow, we started off hot.
Yeah, we start off 3-0, and since then, I've been 1-3. You've been 0-4, but the simulation holding it down with only 2 losses on the year. But PayPal, my early season prediction was a loss. And PayPal, what are you feeling? You feeling this as a loss? You feeling this as a win?
Brad, I might be just overconfident from last week, but I'm feeling a win.
Dang, seriously?
Yeah, I'm feeling a win, Brad. I feel I'm pretty confident. I think I was even kind of thinking that we could win this game before kind of the season started. And I'm not a big fan of Dak so far right now. I think even when he does come back, we've seen it like last year too. Like he comes back and he still doesn't look the best. I don't think he's comfortable with this offense yet. And I mean, we're riding high. Our confidence is high. The players finally saw, or not finally, but they saw again how much their hard work and the hits principle, and they're just buying into this Bears program. So I just think they're gonna come out and just ride high again and just kind of give this team some problems out there. So I'm giving the Bears a win. I don't know my score yet, Brad, but do you think this is a win or a loss?
Are you saying the Bears are going to win because you're in the doghouse and you need to get out of it? Is that what this is about?
I'm not saying anything, Brad. I'm just an optimistic Bears fan.
Okay. I see you. No, I got this still as a loss. I think that this is going to be a good, close. I think it's going to be a lot closer. Like, I think that 9 points is just going to be nuts. The biggest fear that I have, and Nano said it up top, right? You have the Bengals, right? Bengals come in very similar, but they have a lot better wide receivers. Joe Burrow, 199 yards, 6 sacks on him, right? You're hoping that the Bears now have more tape. They can hopefully game plan a little bit better, right? But 6 sacks, man, that's a lot. There's going to be a lot of sacks out there. This could be really ugly. I think ultimately Bears lose. I think it's actually going to be, let's see.
Oh boy.
I don't know if it's one of those where it's either going to be super high scoring or like 16-10, right?
Yeah, these are both low scoring teams. I mean, Dallas, it's like they score average 19 points and then they only give up around 15 points. So yeah, I think it's gonna be a low scoring game, Brad.
And let's go Nano in the comments. 42-60, 42-28.
Wow, yeah, he's on my side.
Let's go.
He's right.
Let me know your so I think I'm actually gonna go 16-10. I don't know, even saying that doesn't feel right. Like it still feels like the Bears might end up going a lot, but I feel because of the pass rush and everything. Let's go 16-10. Chicago Bears lose, I think, ultimately. And I'm looking at quarter4.io. They're giving the Dallas Cowboys an 81% chance of winning. They think that the spread should be 10. And over under it's set at 45.5. So they're giving a little bit more respect to the Bears actual offense. So let's go. But I'm saying loss. And when we did the early predictions, it was a loss from the simulation. But let me actually load this up. My favorite part the last segment, PayPal, the final segment,
The final
final
segment.
segment of today. We're gonna be going through the. Actually, no, it's I chunk it in. I chunk it in with everything. It's still a game prediction. Let me share my screen and we can get this show on the road. We are going to be breaking down a simulation for quarter4.io. Let me just share my screen. Yes, I understand all the fears of me sharing my screen. And I shall.
I'm gonna bring a 6 case of beers next time and just play a drinking game with you saying final segment.
This is the final
This is
segment.
the final segment. Oh gosh, here we go again.
All right, let's do that. Let's have you do that. So let me see. Dallas Cowboys. Let me just set that in as the home team. Chicago Bears as the away team. And actually, I need to share my screen.
Yeah, I believe I didn't put my score out to the public yet. So
Oh,
I think I had time to think about it. I'm gonna do 20 Bears, 17 Cowboys. I think it's gonna be a close one, and we're just gonna grind it out. Like we're just that team that's conditioned. We're gonna ride high in the fourth quarter and just give them the business.
all right. I like it. Nano say it too. They're on a high since Monday. So we'll see. The only thing is now we actually have a coaching staff that knows how to game plan. So
Right?
because of that, I'm kind of like nervous on now we actually use the extra time. Now we might actually get hurt from a short week. While like Matt Nagy, they're like, what did you change? He's like, nothing.
And did
doing
you
the
see
same,
how?
doing the same stuff.
Yeah, did you see how Eberflus was kind of talking about? He's like he doesn't think of it as a short week. Like they kind of started last week before even they played Monday night. Like on
Oh.
Sunday or like Saturday, they actually were studying film on Dallas.
Oh dang, we're on to the next week. Heck yeah.
Yeah, so he was already on to the next week. He's like, that's how you take advantage of like a shorter week, quote
Yeah.
unquote.
Oh,
So
man.
yeah,
These guys are
oh,
smart.
it's cool.
I like it. And especially since the GOAT Belichick had some really good things to say, saying that
Oh my
he's
gosh.
doing everything the right way. Oh man. But let's click on this simulate button, shall we? Since this is the last segment. Let's click on simulate. PayPal, drum roll, please. Do I actually have a drum roll? There's like reactions. I can click on this drum. Let's see. Oh my gosh, let's freaking go. Bears,
Oh, again, let's go.
52.4%
Brad, I'm getting the
chance.
dub.
The simulator, who is 4-2. Let's go. Bear down, ladies and gents. The Bears, the simulation, 52.4%. The Bears are going to beat the Dallas Cowboys. Now they're giving Fields a little bit more love. 152 passing yards is
Still
what
not
they're
great.
projecting. So yes, still not great, but they're giving him a little bit of love. But let's go. Let's go.
Love it.
Like we said, it's 4-2. It's better than us, right?
Yeah.
So PayPal, you could be 4-4.
Hey, and I could be freaking 5-4 if EQ St. Brown is punt returning this week.
Exactly. I'll give you an honorary win if he's the punt returner.
Take away one of my losses and turns into a win.
Yeah, exactly. But man, it's going to be an awesome game. It's going to be an epic game, hopefully. Like we said, this is going to be the best pass rush. This is, to me, the best pass rush in the NFL. And also, we're going to see a young pass rushing unit out there. Let's go. Right? Let's go. Like Donald's saying out here, we got real coaching. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
Like, let's go. And
they've been so much
4-2
fun.
against the spread. Let's go. PayPal,
so
anything
fun.
else? Who do you think ultimately becomes the player of the game?
Oh,
because you have the win. Like, it's hard for me to say that because
I think
player
Eddie
of the game
Jackson.
outside of Fields, right? Fields, is if the Bears win, it's Fields. Like,
I think it's Eddie Jackson. I mean, he's been the guy since the start of the season. It's just he is truly kind of that backbone of this defense. Even though kind of Roquan was kind of who we thought in the beginning of the season, I think he's one of those guys that's just been playing phenomenal. You have no complaints with him. He forces fumbles. He tackles hard. just is so aggressive, even though he's that old Eddie Jackson, and I think he's going to be the MVP.
Awesome. I love to hear it. Big Bojack fan. Love that he's coming back. But guys, that's our show. That's our new segment. We changed, like we said, we changed around some of the segments. Hence the reason why I did not know what the last segment would actually be. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know down in the comments what you thought. Also, if you've listened this long and you're out there on YouTube, comment, bear down. Helps out with overall traffic to the site. Helps us out tremendously. Make sure to like. Make sure to rate 5 stars too if you're listening. Helps us out as well. Tell your friends too, because if you love it, we know that your friends will love it too. But guys, thank you so much. And Unbearable Sports Podcast, we're out.